Good afternoon, everybody. How are we doing? So today is our next segment. Last week we had a hello segment introducing everybody. And today, as promised, we said we would go through your schedule because today at 3 o'clock, your schedules will go live. So we wanted you to be able to read that schedule, understand what it says, and then be able to compare it to the timings that we're going to be having for virtual because it is very different. So your tour guide today for your student schedule walkthrough for your online will be Dr. Koch. So the show is yours, Dr. Koch.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to fifth grade. I am so excited to be here with you. Even though we're not together, we are getting closer to that point. We're going to start talking about your schedules. So today I am excited now to introduce our Explorers team. So we have Mrs. Wagenseller, Mrs. Kraus, Mrs. Quigley, Mrs. McGill, Mrs. Wood, Mrs. Muchnick, Mrs. Ojakovo, and Mr. Bigelow. We also have Mrs. Loveland, Mrs. Taylor, Mrs. White, Mrs. Alberg, and Mrs. Haight. Those are our Explorer teachers, and you will be having two of those as your homeroom teacher and your switch partner. Next up, we have your schedules. And to the left, we have the schedule that is in Skyward. Right now, though, we will be using the schedule that's on the right, your virtual schedule. There are some similarities and there are some differences. As you can see, homeroom, right here, it lists your homeroom teacher. So homeroom is listed on your virtual schedule from 9 to 9:30. During that time, you will have announcements. You will also have your morning meeting. Here, it also lists your counselors. So depending upon the alphabet, you may have Mrs. O'Drain or Mrs. Noecker. First period is from 9:35 to 10:35. Now here you go over and you see first period is ELA. So right here you have ELA during first period. Next you go to science, 10:50 to 11:30. All students have science during that time, both your homeroom and your switch partners. Next you have lunch, 11:35 to 12:05, followed by your specials. Now here you go back over and you see that specials are listed based upon the days of the week. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and day 6. So depending upon the day, you follow that schedule. Fourth period, social studies, same. Everybody has social studies together, 12:55 to 1:35. And then at fifth period, you go back. If you had ELA at first period, now you're going to have math at fifth period. And then we finish up the day with sixth period, 2:55 to 3:35 with your target time, flex, same name, same purpose. And then we wrap up the day with office hours, 3:35 to 4 o'clock. Okay, that was our Explorer schedule. So now we go on to the Colonist team, where we have Mr. Crayer, Mrs. Rivera, Mrs. Jornad, Miss Dibburn, Mrs. Radinsky, Ms. Ames, Mrs. Sandberg, and Ms. Carfagno, as well as Mrs. Connors, Ms. Hellauer, and Mrs. Wanamaker. Those are our Colonist teachers. And once again, we have our two schedules. The one on the left is our Skyward schedule. The one on the right is our virtual schedule that you will be following shortly. We start out with homeroom. It lists the counselors again, Mrs. O'Drain or Mrs. Noacker. You also have your morning meeting listed here. Now, first period, once again, is ELA. So you will start with ELA, 9:35 to 10:35, followed by everyone having science during second period. Then you have a break for lunch, 11:35 to 12:05. Followed by flex, 12:10 to 12:50. Then once again, everyone will have social studies, 12:55 to 1:35, followed by in fifth period, you will have math. If you remember, if you started out the day with ELA, you're going to finish the day here with math, followed up by your specials, which once again are listed by the days 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So depending upon the number on the day, that will be the special that you will attend. And then we finish out the day Office hours once again, 3:35 to 4 o'clock, so that you can meet with teachers if necessary. And then last but not least, our 6th grade team, the Patriots. We start out with Mrs. Rowe, Mrs. Parcia, a teacher that will be still hired in the near future, Mr. Miller, Mrs. Pendleton, Mrs. McGrath, Mrs. Finnegan, and Mr. Tobin, followed by Mrs. Campbell, Mrs. McMonigal, Mrs. Cross, Mrs. Bennick, and Mrs. Schultz. And again, we have our skyward schedule on the left-hand side, and our virtual one on the right-hand side. And homerooms again listed, morning meeting listed, counselors that will be working with you also listed, Mrs. O'Drainer, Mrs. Noecker. And then here you see first period is math. So this student would have math, followed by flex, 10:50 to 11:30, and then lunch, 11:35 to 12:05. Then you come back and you would have ELA this time because you've already had math. Everyone will have science here, 1:25 to 2:05, followed by the special. And once again, according to the days of the cycle, you will follow your schedule. And then you wrap up with social studies, everyone having social studies, and the day ends with office hours, 3:35 to 4 o'clock. All right, now those are the schedules. I do look forward to working with all of you. I'm excited to be back in 5th grade, and I hope that we have a great year together. And as we wrap up, I'm going to turn it back over to Mrs. Nuneviller, and she will have our finishing comments.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Koch. So we know that you're in 5th grade. We know that this is all very different. So we wanted to make sure that you had the ability to hear Dr. Koch, go through your schedule with you. We will post this all online for you. So when you go on our webpage, you'll be able to click who your team is, and then we'll give you a nice big sheet that you can go ahead and print out, and you can put it on your refrigerator, put it on your bulletin board, so that you don't miss any of your times that you need to go to your classes. During morning meeting, we will be doing announcements. We have some great counselors that put together some really fun announcements. So we'll be doing that every day, as well as that's a time for you to talk to your teachers. And then once again, during flex time, those of you that are in gifted, those of you that are, within the instruments, everything, those people will be reaching out to you and letting you know exactly when you will have all of your class meetings as well. But this was just a nice basic wrap up of what your skeletal outline looks like. All right. Thank you so much. And next week we will come back on and we will do, I don't know if we're going to do a video. I think it's going to be more of an outline for the parents as to our distribution of materials. A lot of things need to come out to over 1,900 kids. So you'll be getting an email on that. All right, guys, have a great rest of your evening.